Jay-Z actually said it best. Jay-Z said he walks into every room as himself, as no one else but himself. And I think that's extremely important because when you work in the
Hey, what's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Connect Over Coffee. Chatting today with Micale Allen, who is the Director of Player Relations for the NFL at X10 Capital. Micale, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, Danielle. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Very
Getting
good.
used to this winter weather here in Baltimore. It's not too bad, but it seems like it's going to get a little worse.
I hear you on that. And you know what? You got to prepare for the worst, hope for the best. So we're
I
in the
know.
same boat.
It's officially Tim season in in my house.
Right. No, facts for sure.
All right, let's get started here. We're going to kick things off with our 2-minute drill. Okay, I'm just going to rapid fire a few questions at you. You
Okay.
just say the first thing that pops in your mind, and we'll be good to go. You ready?
Okay. Yes.
All right, let's get started. Coffee or tea?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay. All right. Can I give a twofold answer?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna say both. I'll do coffee. I prefer coffee like when I'm exhausted or I'm tired and I need the caffeine. Um, but then I'll do tea uh just on a regular day. Wake up in the morning, I'll drink tea for with my breakfast or whatnot. So yeah, I'll do both. It just depends on time of the day, where I'm at, how I'm feeling. All
Yeah,
those factors play a part in my decision on whether or not I'm gonna choose coffee or tea. So I'm just gonna say both.
that's interesting there for sure. I don't drink coffee, it's strictly tea. So I'm on the tea
Ah,
train
gotcha,
there.
gotcha, gotcha.
Favorite sports team?
Oh, that's a great question. Favorite sports team? Well, I'm from Philly, so it's only right that I say the Eagles. Of course,
Yeah.
Philadelphia Eagles, uh, Phillies, all Philly sports teams, pretty much. But ever since working in the sports industry, in the NFLPA to be more exact, I've learned to just follow players. I follow the careers of the players, so I've become fans of the players more so than the teams. So I'm more so of a fan of the players.
All right, so leading into our next question then,
Hmm.
favorite athlete?
Man, that's a great question too. Favorite athlete?
And they can be retired, doesn't have to be a current player, or yeah.
Okay. You know something? You know what? Kobe Bryant, R.I.P.
Yeah, that's definitely
R.I.P.
mine. It's a tie
Kobe
between
Bryant.
him and Serena for me.
You know what? I just watched King Richard the other day too.
Great movie.
Great movie. Great movie.
Definitely, hopefully some Oscar noms should be coming out of that one. Well, fingers crossed.
Indeed. Now, if it don't, we gonna have a problem. Gonna have a
Definitely.
problem.
Speaking of movies, favorite sports movie?
You know what? I'm a movie buff. I'm a movie buff at heart. I
Okay.
love movies. So you said sports movie?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so when I was younger, playing Pop Warner football before every game, me and my brothers, my teammates, my pop, he would have us watch. We would watch Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
We would watch Rudy. We would watch. It was this movie called The Program. I'm not sure many people seen it, but a movie called The Program. Any Given Sunday. The list could go on. Oh, and Rocky.
Rocky. Okay.
Rocky. Yeah,
That
that's
makes
like
sense.
that's a Philly classic like there right there.
Yeah.
Rocky was definitely the eye of the tiger. Eye of the
Definitely.
tiger for every game. Yeah.
Since you are a movie buff, I am too. I'm gonna switch up our other question.
Okay.
Favorite movie then?
Oh, favorite movie. Okay. All right. My favorite movie is Training Day.
Training Day. When
Training
Denzel
Day
goes
with
bad.
yeah, it's like one of my favorite. It's a classic.
It
It's
is
a
definitely
classic.
true.
Yeah, it's a classic. So Training Day.
All right. Favorite song or a song that gets you hyped every time it comes on?
Favorite song or a song that gets me hype. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm going to have to say it's It's definitely a Meek Mill song. Okay,
Philly,
gotta
keeping with the
represent
Philly theme.
Philly. Darn right. It's definitely a Meek Mill song. I'm gonna have to say, Dreams and Nightmares
Okay.
probably is, yeah, or I'm a Boss. Honestly, you could play any of Meek Mill's albums, any song, because he's that type of rapper where
Yeah.
most of his music gets you hype. Yeah, I would just probably just play the whole album and just listen to that while I work out. So
No,
yeah,
no.
that's
That is true because he likes to, elevate his voice on those songs.
Oh Danielle, I feel the shade coming through. I feel I'm messing with you.
No, definitely. I mean, I'm not too far from Philly either. I'm from Reading, PA, so I got to
Oh,
love
okay,
all
you
of them
familiar.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, nice. Have
But
you
it's
ever been to
definitely,
Reading Terminal?
yeah, of course, yes, definitely.
Oh man, they got some great food in there, don't they?
That leads us to our next question: best food spot
Perfect.
in Philly.
Look at that. See, we here. We
We
here.
are.
Best food spot in Philly?
Yes.
Okay. I would have to say there's this spot called, don't laugh at the name, but it's called Warm Daddies, right?
I know
Is
Warm Daddies.
oh, then you know, yeah.
Yeah.
Warm Daddies. So for the audience, Warm Daddies is this um restaurant and lounge type, yeah, restaurant slash lounge in Philly. They have great soul food. They have live music and band performances. Kevin Hart performed there one time, I believe. Alicia Keys performed there. But yeah, really great spot, great food, uh, good music, good vibes. But yeah, I would definitely have to say that's probably one of my favorite spots to go to whenever I'm back in Philly.
Okay, nice. I feel like we can talk about some Philly stuff for a while, from artists to athletes. But let's connect a little bit further here. You're a
Okay.
student athlete. You
hmm
played D1 football.
hmm
Talk a little bit about the realization of knowing your career as an athlete was transitioning into, or you're starting to get prepared for a career in the business of sports and entertainment.
Got it. Okay. Uh, I realized that my career was coming to an end. I would say after my sophomore year, I had tore my meniscus, and I actually tore it twice during the course of my college career. But you know, when that happened, I was just like, okay, well, let me buckle down in the classroom. I was already buckling down in the classroom, but let me
Mm-hmm.
just do it even more now, because like most college kids, they have aspirations to plan, sports professionally, and then when that doesn't happen, they don't have a plan, so I knew that I had to, number one, continue to get good grades, but then number two, figure out some way I can get some experience, work experience. So while, in my junior year, I got a job on campus. I did work study, start, building experience. And then after I graduated, I immediately pursued my master's. And in the process of me pursuing my master's, I had interned at Enterprise, worked my way up the ladder there, and at the time they had a really great business, just program, a business sales management program. So that really helped prepare me for corporate America. Uh, but even then, that wasn't my passion of what I wanted to do. I told myself if I wasn't going to play in the NFL, I would work in the NFL. So I was dedicated to, pursuing a career in sports. Um, but yeah, I think I answered your question. Was there a second part to that?
It was just kind of what did you do to prepare yourself? And I think you did answer that question there.
Okay, all right, perfect.
The work study and then taking the internship and the necessary steps to kind of get you acclimated to what you wanted to do further down the line in your career. So yes, definitely.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Matter of fact, I just want to add one more thing, just to add context, is that when I got to Morgan, before I got to Morgan, I was at Robert Morris in Pittsburgh. And while I was there, Robert Morris University, while I was there, I really wasn't getting that much playing time as a freshman. And even then, I knew that I wanted to, work in sports. I've always had this fascination with, with just watching different events like Super Bowl and Pro Bowl and halftime show and like, yo, who put that together?
Yeah.
You know, who I was always fascinated with that. So during my freshman year at Robert Morris, I tried to get an internship with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to because it would have been a conflict of interest given that I was a student athlete. So transferred to Morgan, and the reason why I transferred is because of, you know, well, I wasn't getting that much playing time at Robert Morris, but then also too, the school was super expensive, and I wasn't on scholarship, so transferred to Morgan, and that's where, you know, things for me really flourished. You know, I walked on the football team my sophomore year, earned a full football scholarship junior year, and from there, you know, it really kicked in when I got injured. When I got injured, I realized, okay, you know, your chances of going to the league are very slim. And you know, I wasn't, you know, I knew I had to be real with myself. And this is what I try to tell most student athletes. A lot of them, you know, sometimes they could live in denial, you know, as far as their talent or athletic ability of, you know, playing professionally. And I accepted that. No, I wasn't built for the next level. You know, college, that was my cap, and I was perfectly fine with that. I was perfectly fine with that. So I say all that to say, don't wait until you get an injury, or, you know, as a student athlete, you know, don't wait until you get an injury for you to realize, okay, you need to start focusing on, you know, how to prepare for life after college. Start as early as possible as your freshman year. Even if you're a student athlete, I know you're busy with practice, games, school, but any way or opportunity you can find to get some type of internship or volunteer experience, do it as early as possible, because that experience will essentially help you moving forward with, you know, identifying what you want to do, which avenue you want to take in your career. And for me, it was sports. And I'm sure for others like me or similar to me that, you know, a student athlete probably want to do sports as well. So if you start now, start as early as possible getting that experience. When you get to your senior year, you'll be in a way better position than what I was trying to break into the sports industry during that time.
Yeah, and I can echo that because I was the student athlete that waited till my senior year.
It's real. Yeah.
Yeah. It was that moment. I remember, quick story. I just, my viewers probably know I like to ramble sometimes, but quick story.
You and I both.
You know, tennis. I was a tennis player, D1 tennis player.
Nice.
You know, so we have a fall and a spring season. The fall season is always just like people non-conference, and then spring was our conference play. Well, I was playing with like a stretch fracture my whole senior fall, probably even junior year, stretch fracture in my foot. And then senior year came around, an internship kind of came about at the same exact time where my foot was just like, I can't do this anymore. with, you know, so it was basically, I gave up my spring season, which I probably kind of regret, because I was at the point, like, I can still play. I'm playing even better now that I don't have as many classes. I'm graduating. You know, yeah. But then I had to come to realization, I'm not going pro. I knew I wasn't going pro. I didn't go to a big D1 school. I went to a small D1 school. But, you know, I had that internship lined up, fortunately, and that was able to launch off my career. But I always thought if I would have maybe started a little bit earlier, you never know where that could have led to. So great advice right there of starting that career and that internship earlier than your senior year.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, they don't admit it. You know, but listen, as a student athlete, when I was going through it, you couldn't tell me my freshman year I wasn't going to the league. You could not tell me that, you know. And then when I got injured, you know, I was still of the mindset that like I still can go to the league, but you know, battling through those injuries and you know, trying to maintain your body and stuff, and it was just so many factors that played into, okay, you know what? I'm accepting reality here. Yeah. And it's not that I'm giving up. No. I just know that I can use this, you know, my brain. And if I can push my brain like I can push my body on the field, you know, I could still be successful and be successful in sports. So yeah.
Well, that was it for me. Definitely facts said right there. But diving deeper into your current career as director of player relations, talk about the importance of relationship building in your role from both representing players and then also helping them and providing them the opportunity to build their own personal brand.
That's a great question. Relationship building is important. Is very important, and something that's really what my job entails is building relationships with players, with their family, agents, financial advisors, marketing reps, essentially the core nucleus that surrounds a player's enterprise. But in the center of all is the player, and building relationships with them is important because number one, you want to be a resource, of knowledge and a resource to the player, so that they know that they have someone on their team or their board of directors that they could trust. So building relationships is important. I think that as you go through your career, you'll realize that in the sports industry specifically, relationships, that is what our industry is built on.
Yes.
And it's very important. I can tell you from experience, some of the relationships that I've built have led to collaborations, partnerships. It has led to players getting opportunities, off the field opportunities. It has led to players essentially just learning how to operate their careers more like a business. So it's definitely relationships is important, and even outside of just doing it with players or their agents or whatnot, in the industry itself, relationship building is extremely important, and understanding strategically of who to connect with, why you want to connect with them, and then how you can add value essentially to that person or whatever they're doing, and vice versa. And from there, you build off of that. So yeah, I would say that relationships are extremely important for what we do in sports. And one thing I always say is that you got to be organic to yourself. You got to be authentic to yourself. And Jay-Z actually said it best. Jay-Z said he walks into every room as himself, as no one else but himself. And I think that's extremely important because when you work in an industry like this, sometimes you could look at the status quo, or and try to either live up or below that. And really, all you have to do is just be yourself, and speak your truth, and players will resonate with that. People could tell when you're being phony.
Yeah.
So that's my long-winded answer. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, that's what I would say about relationships.
Yeah, I did. I chatted with someone previously before, and I think she said, like, when you're not being organic, it's like when you get the job, right? And you kind of change a little bit to try to be of the status quo. It's like, that's not who they hired. That's not who they wanted. They wanted you for a particular reason. So be yourself, be your authentic self. So I think that was great with what you just said there. Yeah. But moving on, being able to work with players is probably one of the most coveted roles in sports. Everybody wants to have that opportunity, whether to be on your side, be an agent, or what have you. Talk about, what advice would you give someone in college or even a business professional who wants to be in a similar role that what you're doing? And how did you kind of go about getting that position or getting into this career?
Gotcha. That's a great question. Well, I would start. Well, let me start with my journey to here, then I'll start with the why or what it took. So the journey was, it started out at the NFLPA, the Players Association, as an intern, and from there worked my way up 2 promotions while I was there. And at the NFLPA, essentially what I did was connected brands of players. So within that, I built relationships with all the top agents in the NFL, players, their marketing reps, and then as well as the brands, the companies. So companies like EA, which creates the Madden game, Fanatics, Panini trading cards, and built relationships with companies like that. But during that time frame, we also just did a lot of traveling. This is sports, so you could imagine that is with specific roles. There's quite a bit of traveling involved. So, while I was at the PA, did a lot of traveling and worked events like Super Bowl, Pro Bowl, Combine, Draft, Collegiate Bowl, and through those events, again, built relationships with all the agents, marketing reps, sports executives just in general that were there. And I actually met and I didn't know this at the time, but I met the former GM of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I met him at the NFL draft in Dallas several years ago, and built a relationship with him, stayed in contact over the years. I would see him at different events and stuff over the course of the years, and he reached out to me, and reached out to me and told me about X10 and the things that they were doing and how they were helping players. And for me, it was a smooth transition. I saw it as an opportunity not only for me to grow and learn, but then also too, it would be something different from what I was doing at the PA. At the PA, I was again connecting brands to players. With this player relation specifically, it was working directly with the player, building relationships, and through building relationships, just education. A lot of just education on, how to maximize your career potential, how to maximize your career earnings, and through doing that, how to operate your career like a business. So it was different from what I was doing at the PA. But again, this opportunity I'm in now came from relationship that I built with someone that I met at the draft, and come to find out that person was the general manager of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I didn't know that, but again, that just goes back to, your previous questions. Relationships are extremely important. So that's how this opportunity came about. That's how this opportunity came about.
Do you have any mentors that have given you great advice or helped guide you through this process in your career?
Great question. Yes, I do. I actually met my first mentor who helped me get into the sports industry, or was a huge help in getting me into the sports industry. I met him while I was at work, and I actually checked him into his vehicle. I was working for Enterprise. I checked him into his vehicle, and I noticed that he had on a Nike book bag, and I thought it was really cool. So I complimented him on his book bag, and he was like, "Well, yeah." I was like, "Thank you, I appreciate it. My client gave it to me." And I said, "I'm thinking I have a client." I said, "Well, what do you do?" And he said, "Well, I work in sports. I have." He was an executive in the NBA. So, in my head, at that time, I was trying to break into the sports industry. And so a light bulb went off in my head. I'm thinking, ding, 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 ding. So then, from there, sparked the conversation, built a relationship, and he, ended up really, being one of the greatest mentors in helping me understand what it took to get into the sports industry. And the reason why I say greatest is because it took me almost 2 years to break into the sports industry. And I know a lot of people that gave up on, pursuing their dream or passion, or pursuing a job in the sports industry. I know a lot of people gave up. So it was a gruesome process. But through that process, I learned a great deal about myself, and he was definitely there to support me through that, and just help me make connections as well. But then from him, it blossomed into having a multitude of mentors, whether it was at the NFLPA or just sports executives in general, or just even sports people, but offered great advice from a business and corporate or even nonprofit perspective. So yeah, I mean, I think that having a mentor is key. Having a mentor is especially a mentor that if they're in a role in which you aspire to be one day, you know, pick their brain, reach out to them, hey, ask, hey, can you grab a cup of coffee? Can you grab lunch? Even if you can't afford it, they probably know that you can't afford it. You're a college student, or,
Yes.
but that's okay. That's okay. Is the initiative. Grab a cup of coffee, grab, lunch with them, ask them questions about, their career, and how they got to, where they are now. And so that's what I did with my mentors, and, just in doing that really helped me build strong relationships with them as well, and got to know them a lot more. And through getting to know them, those were the gems, I needed,
Mhm.
to help catapult me, or accelerate me in my career.
Just to piggyback off that last question, has there been an MJ moment where something someone said or did motivated you to be better or to prove them wrong?
Gotcha. Great question. It's a great question. I would have to say, well, I have MJ moments all the time, honestly. I'll make up stuff in my head, like MJ did in The Last Dance. He made up something in his head that a player on the other team said something bad about him. And he used that as motivation before the game to like destroy them. Well, I do the same thing. Um, I'll make up something in my head. Oh, that guy, you think that I can't do this, or you think I don't have the mental capacity to overcome or accomplish this goal? Watch me, and I'll literally talk to myself, but that's that's what I'll do. Similarly to MJ, to motivate myself to be better, and do better. But I think I have actually have someone. I can't remember exactly what the situation was, but either way, I have a ton of those MJ moments all the time,
Yeah.
and it's definitely something that I use as fuel to the fire, and motivating me, to keep pressing on, drive. I think that's extremely important. Like that's one of the greatest things I love about MJ is the drive. Like he never gave up, never stopped, and his relentlessness. I hope I said that right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that's what I would say about that.
All right, Micale, we're at our final question here. We call it shit you wish you know. Which loosely translates to one piece of advice you wish you could tell your younger self or someone who is just starting out in their career.
Great question. Something I would tell my younger self. Something that I would tell my younger self is to something I would tell my younger self is to start early.
Okay.
Start early. Start early as it relates to when this is what I was talking about earlier about getting internship experience or some type of work experience your freshman year and throughout your entire college career, not waiting until your junior or senior year. I would say start early with networking, start early with, finding a mentor, start early with identifying internship opportunities that you're allowed to do, volunteer opportunities, or if it's, now we're living in an age of NIL, and really focusing on helping players or student athletes build their brands. That would have been a big focus of mine as well. So that's what I would have told my younger self. Just when it comes to pursuing your dreams and goals. For me, it was inherent, for me with being driven and ambitious and goal oriented. But those other things, some that sometimes college students don't know, like starting early and getting that experience is important, because that's something that no one ever told me, and so I had to learn it on my own, and I had to learn the hard way. Where, like yourself, starting to my junior year, senior year, so that's really important.
Start early, you know, that.
Mhm.
And I think the word of the day, relationship building and starting early, are two biggest takeaways for sure in this
Yes.
conversation here.
Yes.
All right. Thank you again, Micale, for chatting with us today.
Mhm.
And then thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of the Connect Over Coffee. If you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button below. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, IG, and of course, LinkedIn. All right, let's connect later. Talk soon.